These guys came to me and asked if I could modify or fix this fiber optic cable layer pulled behind a cat. They said it was hard to push in the permafrost and the roots in the moss pile up in front. So I said I would put a sharp V cutting edge on the front, and on the bottom I would add an extra little cutting edge there and V it on the top. Plus add a little bit more for some preferable length. And so yeah, we're going to get started on this ripper shank now and take it apart.
Coming up next, the wild ripper gouge job. Let's go! My favorite one!
Okay, show you here, we got a gouge all the way along here. This is my first gouge, took 3 passes, 3/8 gouge rod, a 5/16, but I use these here flat ones because I want to get them used up. They were good. They eventually come to a point anyway. But yeah, there's the first gouge. Took about, I don't know, 15 minutes. Flip it over, do the other thing, knock that sucker off. I put this in here to show how to flip stuff with a pry bar, and well, sometimes it just doesn't want to flip so easy. Well, that's the way it goes. So I don't like to fight with stuff much anymore, and most of the time there is a simple way. You just got to figure that out. It's like there are different ways to skin a cat, and just changing the approach is all that it can take. So sometimes like thinking out of the box. So just stand back and take a look at it and go, oh, shit. Oh, somebody put another hole here. Put the pry bar in that. There we go. Why didn't I see that one before? And over it goes. So simple for a big piece of metal. Now, in case you were wondering at this point about the procedure, and well, all I can tell you is that from experience, if one has the big 500 amp power that I have, then well, it's just kind of easier to do a few passes of gouging before cutting the pieces off with a torch. It uses a lot less oxygen also, and you don't have to keep changing tips for big and small pieces then. So this is kind of like the way I like to do it. And besides some of this gouging, I'm kind of going through some hard surfacing here, and a torch doesn't cut hard surfacing. It just piles through and makes a hell of a mess because it's chromium tungsten deposit. So that's why I tend to do it this way on a lot of stuff. I just find the job is easier in the end. Okay, well, we'll let you finish off the rest. So we got the other side all gouged out all the way through here, and I just got to square this up. So I did a gouge there, and I'll just go over it with the torch. Just easier to cut. I don't have to change tip. Have my little subby piece of grater blade. Actually, no, this is a D10 cutting edge blade. It's 1 7/8 inch thick, not quite as thick as the blade, but that's okay. This is just a bottom end that's gonna wear out. I have a couple of wedges in there to hold it up while I tack it, and you notice this angle downhill. I expect that to come back with some pulling from the weld. That's it. Okay, here it is. It's pointed, as you see here. That is 2 passes of stainless steel and a pass of hard surfacing. It's not square. It's got to be pointed because it hammers in the ground. And then I just put a few beads all the way along here because any ridges collect moss. And these guys aren't cutting in rocks, they're cutting in permafrost, and they need to actually have a very smooth edge. So there we go. And now for the lead part coming up next. Okay, this grater blade has got a taper on it already. It bolts into a radius. So I'm going to take advantage of that taper for a weld. I'll cut a taper on the other side. This edge here is going to have a taper about 50 degrees. It's going to be very sharp on the edge, and the reason for that is that they're cutting moss, and I know moss has a lot of twigs in it that or roots that are very strong, and they actually need to cut it. They're only in permafrost, so they shouldn't wear it out. Grater blade is something that we use an awful lot of around here because, number one, it's free. Yeah, gives the customer a great opportunity to save a couple of bucks. This is the edge we're going to be putting it on this shank here. Those shadows, what a sunny day. I got it up on edge here. I used a little bit of crazy glue to hold it down. Yeah, just a little bit of hot glue gun. Yeah, that's hot too. And we'll put that on top. Hey, I'm a welder. People say I weld all around, but I'm too busy welding just to put a stinger down. Remember, when using a machine like this, keep the blade away from you. That's what we do. Well, this is the end of the job. There's a big yellow tube that goes down this round part, and it goes down there and goes into the ground as this proceeds forward here, and then the cable's laid in the ground that way. So there's a couple hinges here that allow it to float in the cut. So they wanted a nice smooth transition zone with a smooth weld here and a chisel edge to cut that moss. A little bit of hard surfacing here because that's the part that wears so much. They didn't ask for it. I threw that in as a bonus. And there you go. This is a 9-hour job. Take apart, put that together, and load her up.